Life. What is it all about? I've asked myself that very question on many occasions. Is it about love? And if so, then what is love? Through my experiences in life, I've come to know love to be associated with peace, harmony, unity, family, health, and life. Yes, those things describe love very well. Love is grand, love is great. But also through my experiences, I've come to know love's counterpart as well. Love's very opposite. And that opposite is called hate. Hate includes everything that is anti-love. So what is hate? Hate is associated with war, racism, segregation, broken families, marital problems, medical issues, theft, suicide, murder, death. Yes, those things describe hate very well. See, I've come to realize through my experience in life that we all want to live life and live it more abundantly. We all want to be able to enjoy family and friends, take trips, afford the things we need and the things we want, be happy and healthy and loved. Yes, all of us want these very things. And nobody is born with the mindset that they wish to die. Nobody. So how then do many of us get to a point where life becomes a burden in and of itself? How do many of us go from being happy, loving children, pure of heart, having great ambition and that love life, to being depressed, repressed adults who don't care if we live or die? How does that happen? How does a heart full of light, love, and a giving nature become a bitter heart full of darkness, hate, and self-aggrandizement? How does love become hate? What is the root cause of this transition taking place? Well, I've done a lot of critical thinking and pondering of that very question, and what I found is that our lives are not what we make it out ourselves a lot of the time. Instead, it's mainly what we've experienced, been influenced by, exposed to, and the very environment we grew up and currently live in that plays a major role in how we view and live our lives as adults. With all this being said, it's time now that you also knew the truth about life and the truth about what's really going on here in our own nation and in the world. I promise you that after you watch this video, you will definitely look at things differently. So without further ado, here we go.
The following content and video may not be suitable for children or for the faint of heart. Viewer discretion is advised.
Our nation, the United States of America, the most powerful nation in the world, the land of the free and the home of the brave, with liberty and justice for all. Many believe that the United States of America is a land of opportunity, a place of freedom, a safe haven, a place where the impossible can be made possible. But there's a darker side to this nation, a side that's not seen in its true likeness, the opposite side of those bright white stars, where instead of being bright white, the stars are dark black, the side where the United States of America is nothing but a breeding ground, pain and suffering for many. If we refuse to act now, America will undoubtedly deteriorate and decay from the inside out, and all that we fought for as Americans will be lost forever. It's no secret that the United States of America has become a place of cruel injustice, prejudice, racism, violence, theft, family and relationship issues, suicide, murder, and so much more. And things just keep getting worse every single year. With prices increasing yet pay decreasing or staying the same, life in the United States has become exceedingly difficult to live. Financial instability runs rampant, which that in and of itself is the root cause of almost all pain and suffering in our nation and in our world. If we continue on the course that we're on, our nation will become nothing but a land where we the people will be plunged into a state of darkness in which there will be no turning back, and we will never again regain control of our lives or reestablish our nation as one of the brightest stars in the world. Take a look at what's going on right now here in our own nation.
And you feel like the government is lying to you? Like you feel like everybody has been lied to? You feel like you've been tricked?
There's a fallacy in America that says you have to go to you have to go to school and you have to go to college, and then you will get a good job. I was in school for 8 years, 2 master's degrees in engineering, 80,000 in debt, and no job. Why do I not have a job? Why is 42% of the wealth controlled by 1% of the population? Because things are wrong in America.
All right, so at the end of the day, do you believe that
This is the Chicago Police Department. You must disperse to the west.
Time to leave. To the west.
Attention, attention.
Go out that way. Thank you.
This is the Chicago
Thank
Police
you very much.
As the train rumbles past 4th and Evans, I join a group of volunteers who are spending a few nights on the street, hoping to understand what it is like when you have nowhere to go. I am told there is safety in numbers, as we are joined by a few homeless men and their dogs.
The hardest thing about being out here, I would have to say, dodging the police.
The wake-up call comes at 4:30 as the homeless who sleep by the tracks don't want to get hassled by Reno police who make their sweeps around 5 a.m.
If I see him here tomorrow, I've given you a warning, and then it's either going to be a citation if they want to come back and disregard my warning, and then the third time it's usually go to jail.
One woman who came to the shelter to escape an abusive boyfriend was anxious about a job interview she had later in the afternoon.
Oh yeah, you know, people judge you when they find out you're homeless or they see you down here. People do judge, the public really does.
When Melanie Sandomierski went for the job interview, she was told all the positions had been filled.
I want to ask you, I know this is not your first time visiting this camp in Lakewood, New Jersey. Talk to me about how things have changed.
Well, you know, Christine, definitely the biggest change that we've seen is, of course, in the numbers. Sadly, the first time we were at the camp, the numbers were no more than 30 people. Then that has turned into 40, and it is now at 70. We were really surprised to discover this, considering all the talk of the recession ending and things getting better that is taking place in the United States. It was really shocking to see how much the camp has really expanded since the last time we were there.
I didn't realize, you said it went from 30 to 70 people. That's more than doubling the population of this little community. I'm wondering if you recognized familiar faces, people that were there last year and are still there now.
Christine, you know, I really was hoping that we wouldn't see the familiar faces, but unfortunately we did. We did show that one man in our report. He's in his 50s. You know, the change in him has really been drastic. I remember this man the last time we were there several months ago, and he was a very cheerful person, played a little music for us. And these days, he's really transformed. It looks like this particular man aged at least 10 years. There was another woman we talked to the previous times who was still there, unfortunately, even though she was one of the most hopeful ones that she would be leaving very, very soon, and she's still there this time around. She didn't want to talk on camera and was quite disappointed by the fact that we had returned and still witnessed her there.
And so
well, you asked me if doing prison was the hard part. In 18 years, I did 12 total. And it wasn't the hard part, wasn't going to prison, it was getting out and trying to be part of society again. At one time, I was a contractor. I had 4 employees, 3-bedroom house, blah, 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 blah. And I had to lose it all to realize it was just stuff, but still. Then when you're done with your time, and I discharged my sentence in February 11th of 2011, I got my parole papers signed off. I became a citizen again. I can actually vote. I can actually go in and vote for the president. But I can't get a job here or here or here. I can't have any apartments because they won't accept felons. And it's just the hard part was just becoming part of society again. It's like they didn't want me. They didn't want me to be part of their society anymore. I walked up to a woman once to ask her what time it was. I was pushing a cart. Me and my wife were pushing our cart. We had all our stuff in a grocery cart. I was pushing. I needed to know what time it was, so I went up to ask this woman what time it was. She's like, "Oh, get away from me. I don't have any money. Leave me alone." I'm like, "I don't want money." She's like, "Just get away from me. Go." I'm like, and I'm thinking, what could have this woman been through that she's so terrified of a stranger that she... What if my wife was pregnant, her water just broke, and I needed help? I mean, who knows? What if I was having chest pain and I needed her to call 911? She didn't care. It was just, get away from me. Go. I don't got no money. She thought all I wanted was her money. I just want to know what time it was. And it hurt, man. It's like, damn. People...
It does hurt.
You know, it's like, damn. It's humanity. So many people, what have they been through that makes them so terrified of relationships and people that they just don't want nothing to do with nobody? It's sad. So I think people matter, but the more I'm starting to see, less and less.
You matter, bro.
I feel that way about you too, man. You matter. I mean, you care.
It's
sad to see that most people don't. It's just sad because there's so much beautiful things in life. I'm just trying to make the world a more better place, man, a more beautiful place. And if music and art can do it and somebody appreciates it, that's all that matters. If I can make a difference in one person's life, that's all that matters.
You made a difference in my life.
Praise God. I mean, hallelujah.
You did. I would be sitting here with you if you hadn't.
Yeah.
Because you were playing your guitar when I walked up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's a positive difference, you know. We can all make a negative influence in somebody's life, but if we can be a positive difference in somebody's life and make them just think for a minute, maybe there is something worth caring about, you know? But I don't know.
Some 4,000 free holiday meals are being served here on Skid Row, and as you can see from the long lines, there's definitely a great need. Recent U.S. Census figures show that nearly half of all Americans are considered to be poor. And as unemployment remains high and the government's social safety nets continue to be frayed, the fear is that in the future, these lines will only continue to get longer.
We don't have much, and this will be one of the only presents that we get this year.
Rosa Delgado may be soft-spoken, but the 20-year-old college student is tough and resilient. This young woman is carrying a heavy load on her shoulders as she tries to make this a happier holiday season for her 6 young siblings.
We try to live every day by day, looking for places that, like this, give us a daily bread. Instead of the U.S. putting the money towards the citizens here, you're using it for other things that aren't benefiting us, like war that's going on right now.
Children, playful, innocent, 1 in 5 in the U.S. struggling with hunger.
The federal government tells us that by the time a child reaches the age of 18, it will have a 1 out of every 2 chance of being on food stamps. So the federal government itself is telling us that half of all children will be on food stamps by the time they reach the age of 18.
On any given day, 1 in 4 children are on food stamps, and over 21% are living in poverty. For African American kids, that number jumps to 35%.
In a country with a government and a model that's focused on the well-being of its people, obviously its children would be a priority. But unfortunately, the United States is not a country with that kind of model.
1 in 5 children in America facing hunger. Brushing the elephant in the room aside cannot remain an option for the U.S. much longer, as the suffering children are not just missing out on meals, but their entire childhoods. Anastasia Churkina, RT.
A young person in Trenton, New Jersey, why would he join a gang? Why not? If he walk out the door, that's all he see. You know what I mean? Either gangs, drug dealing. If you're selling drugs, you better be part of the gang.
There was a string of robberies in southwest Houston that left 3 people dead, and now Houston police say the men responsible for those crimes are behind bars. Police say the 25-year-old Sebastian Drayton and 28-year-old Eric Foster are charged with 1 count of murder and may be responsible for as many as 3 murders.
Every 40 seconds, a car is stolen here in America. 80% disappear without a trace. Specialized car thieves could steal your car today, chop it up, create a new car, and then sell it to your neighbor tomorrow.
consumers are not protected at all here. They are, in point of fact, companies lose their information to hackers, cyber attackers, and the next thing, there's a ring of thieves having a field day with their personal information.
With your personal information. This
And
is a
the
huge
company
problem.
is at fault. It's their responsibility,
Well,
but not necessarily their liability, right?
Well, this is the issue. We have a Federal Trade Commission, we have some regulations, we have state laws, federal laws, all of which are ostensibly to protect the consumer. The problem is the consumers don't know all of the things they need to do to get the protection once there's fraud, because the credit card companies don't give you the proper information
There is no
about the fraud.
protection. The cavalry's not coming. The credit card companies are not protecting you. The federal government is. You've got to do everything on your own, and that's the hard part here.
So just what is the cause of the many horrible things going on in our nation and in our world today? The reason our lives fall apart is because we don't have a system in place to cover ourselves when things go wrong in our lives. Most of the time, the things that go wrong in our lives are things we ourselves have no control over, and when they happen, we try our best to salvage the situation in the best way we can. Some of us are lucky enough to find a way out, but some of us aren't so lucky. The God-honest truth is that money really does make the world go round, and without it, the lion's share of us can't live in today's society. Money is the root cause of most of the problems in our lives, in our nation, and in our world. Financial instability causes other problems to arise, such as, but not limited to, homelessness, murder, prostitution, gang violence, drug dealing, drug abuse, theft or stealing, jail time, suicide, family problems, stress and strife, disobedient children, relationship issues, depression, and so much more. To prevent such things from happening or continuing to happen, we must take back control of our lives financially. By doing this, our lives, our nation, and our world will be restored to their rightful state. We can do it if we all work together. No one person can make massive change all by themselves. We must work as a single unit to bring peace and stability back to our lives. If we don't, then all the things you've seen previously and the things you are about to see will remain a part of our lives, of our nation, and of our world forever. So how will we eliminate the horrible things from our lives, from our nation, and from our world for good? What's the key? Unity. That's how. That's the key. We must become a people united, a nation of like-minded individuals ready to carry out the same mission, a people ready to share and achieve the same goals. But how can we become that? What do we need in order to make this happen? Infrastructure. That is exactly what we need. We need an infrastructure that can help us all when we get down and when we're out. The problem is that we don't have that right now. But if we did, a lot of more people would be satisfied with their lives and be able to be taken care of. But what kind of infrastructure? We need an infrastructure that will help us all, from the rich to the poor. An infrastructure providing those in need, that generates business for those who own businesses, and that abolishes crime by eliminating the direct cause of it. We must use this for things like this. But times 100. We can't just simply continue making only short-term differences in people's lives. We must aim to create lasting differences in people's lives. This can be best demonstrated by the following phrase in the illustration. Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. But teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. We are all human beings and we all deserve to live great lives. We all deserve family and friends and to take comfort in knowing that our fellow human beings love and care about us, especially our well-being. Family is what it's all about. We can't allow financial instability to rip our families apart. We must band together as one big family in order to maintain our individual families. If we work together, we'll be able to keep everything together. We the people can make America great again by choosing to commit to the idea of real change. And now a few great and honorable words from two United States presidents of the past, Franklin D. Roosevelt and Abraham Lincoln. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Do what you can with what you have where you are. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Brighter days are ahead of us, but only if we choose to bring about those brighter days. If we do, all of us will be able to enjoy our lives. And guess what? None of us, and I mean none of us, will ever have to go without ever again. We can go back to being able to enjoy our lives without the financial hardships life throws at us, hindering us from being able to do so. Depression will cease to exist, and crime will dwindle away slowly but surely. As we press forward towards better lives, a better nation, and a better world, we will undoubtedly find out how strong we are when we unite together, and we will not soon forget our achievements. All it takes is for us to believe in ourselves and for us to believe in each other. That in and of itself will move the train forward towards our final destination, which is the well-being of all people everywhere, and never again shall any of us have to suffer the wrath of financial hardship. And we'll stand tall once again as individuals, as a nation, and as a world, and we will lift up those who need lifting up and help those in need of help. We will help those in need of assistance, and we together will provide the necessities of any and all human beings on the face of the earth. We the people, we have the power to make real change. Let's no longer talk about it because talking doesn't get us anywhere. Instead, let's be about it and get things done. We can do it if we put our minds to it. By uniting together, we shall make real change in our lives, our nation, and our world. Let's band together and make a difference in our lives, our nation, and our world. I know we can do it. Unity is the key to making great things happen. We need us, and it's us that we need. The sooner we realize and accept that fact, the sooner our nation and our world can become a better place. We need something that will work for all of us, a company, an infrastructure, and it must be geared towards the good of all people everywhere. A company with an infrastructure that allows the company to be there for us all whenever we are in need of help or assistance. A company designed to oversee and ensure the well-being of us all. A company that will honestly better our lives. A company that will truly make America great again. The People's Company. The People's Infrastructure. G.I.R. Incorporated. A wonderful, unique, and innovative company. A company like no other. A company built by the people, operating for the people.